Hi, I'm Andy Jones, content editor for Plaid's online education program, Let's Paint. And I'd like to welcome you to our YouTube craft break here on a Friday at noon. So welcome everyone. We'll give people a few minutes to find us and tune in. And while we are waiting for people to find us, I want to let you know about a great kit that we have. If you are new to acrylic painting or new to the folk art brand of paint, we have a fantastic kit that's FA 13491. And you can find this 18-piece set at walmart.com. And it's a great array of colors that will get you on your way to painting just about anything you want to. So we've got the entire spectrum of colors in this particular kit, and it is the original matte formula of acrylic, which is my favorite formula to work with. And again, that kit is FA 13491. And I am joined in studio today by Stephen White, who is handling all of our audio and video needs. So welcome, Stephen. Glad to have you here.
Thanks, Andy. I'm glad to be here. It's been a while since we've done a live stream together, it feels like.
I know, and so many live streams that go on, and it just hasn't been our time to work together.
And I'm just letting everybody who's watching know that I'm about to put the name of the kit in the comments, so in case you didn't hear Andy or you need a reminder, you can check the comments below the stream for the kit name.
It just has the number.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we are going to talk today. This is a tale of two different color theory trains of thought, as it were. So many of you know, if you've looked at a color wheel, the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And so that's kind of been the way it's been since Isaac Newton refracted light through a prism and began this theory of the study of color theory. So we are going to put out a nice red, we are going to put out a nice yellow, and we are going to put out a nice dark blue color. Now you can use any red, yellow, and blue that you want to, and in theory, let's keep that in mind because this is always in theory, practice is most often a little bit different. But you can make just about any color you want to. So if we wanted to make a green color, we could start with yellow and add a little bit of blue to our yellow, and we will end up making a green color.
It's like magic.
It is like magic. Sometimes the colors that you make are more magical than others. This particular green here it's an okay green. It's not fantastic, but it's a green color. So you can see that this theory works. So as you know that yellow and blue make green, and if you wanted to, you can take some red and blue. And Stephen, I'm putting you on the spot. What does that make?
Purple.
Yes.
Ooh.
Remembering back to those early childhood development days, and blue and red do indeed make purple.
I had to pull deep
I
within my knowledge on color theory for that one.
Going way back for that. All right, so you can adjust your color to get it to the perfect shade of purple that you want. So we've got that, and if we want to, we can also mix some yellow and red and make, Stephen?
Yellow and red make orange?
Yes, that's right. Stephen, questions.
I was checking our stream, and I hadn't even registered that you were asking me a question.
Yes, I was sneaking that in there.
Yep.
Don't mean to put Stephen on the spot there, because there's nothing worse than working at a company that makes art supplies and missing a color question.
You know, you almost got me with that one.
I know.
You have to try a little harder.
But you were able to pull it out there before you beat the buzzer.
There we go.
I'm sure there's some sports analogy in there about beating the buzzer. I would not really know that. All right, so we have what could be our primary colors. Are we overhead now?
We are.
Okay, so red, yellow, blue, primary colors, green, that's not green, that's orange, green, and violet, secondary colors. This is the stuff you learned as a kid. So I'm going to just put this on a little piece of paper here and have this as just a reminder of what we mixed to get where we are. So we have red, yellow, blue. So red and yellow mixed together gives us a nice orange color. And we have red, and we'll take blue, and that will give us our purple color. And we will have yellow, and we'll have blue, and that will give us our green color. And so this is where the familiarity is kind of going to take a break here, and we're going to show you something a little bit new and different. So with our red and yellow, we get orange. Our red and blue, we get purple. Our yellow and blue, we get green. But what if you needed to make red?
Whoa, no.
Can you make red?
How do we make red, Andy?
How do we make red? What we do is we use an alternative set of primary colors. Now, I have watched, I try to do my research for this stuff, and I watched a video where the presenter was adamant that everybody's been lied to their whole life and that red, yellow, and blue are not your primary colors. And they were insisting that these were your primary colors. So magenta, yellow, and cyan. That these are your real primary colors. And if you have a home printer, you've probably used magenta, yellow, cyan, and black. That is what we call CMYK color. But you can do this with paint as well. So the thing about this is you haven't really been lied to your entire life, because magenta didn't, the artist pigment magenta, which was originally a commercial dye, wasn't developed until the 1830s. So up until 1830, this didn't exist. And it was a little later when cyan was developed as a color unto itself. So 1830s, 1850s, well, we'll roughly say the mid-1800s, this didn't exist. So this theory of color was not possible until then. So it's just different, and it is kind of fun and exciting. And you can try lots of different shades of magenta, lots of different shades of yellow, lots of different shades of cyan to come up with what works best for you. But in theory, what we can do is we can take some magenta and some yellow, and we can make a red. It's not going to be exactly the same red that we started with, but you can see pretty quickly here how we go from hot pink to red. So that, according to this color theory branch of the tree, red is not a primary because you can make red from magenta and yellow. So that makes those the more, quote, real primary colors. So let's just, we'll do this with our palette knife this time. So we'll take over here on our little worksheet, we'll put down some magenta, and we'll put down some yellow as our primary colors. And when you mix magenta and yellow together, you get a red color. And I'm calling it a red color. It's not as red as a primary red that's mixed up, but it's pretty cool that you get a red from your magenta and yellow. You can make a great green from your yellow and your cyan color. And this will give you a much more kind of Kermit the Frog green.
I was going to ask, is this an okay green in your opinion? 'Cause
It's
you
an
s-
okay green. I
Yeah.
mean, all colors are okay, Stephen. What I will tell you, and I should probably have this needle pointed on a pillow, but all color is relative. So on your palette, a green color might not look so exciting, but that green in a painting, that would work perfectly well in a setting given what's around it. So color never stands alone. Color is always subject to what it is next to. All right, I'm just going to push my palette up a little bit so you can see this. So we'll take our yellow and our cyan. And those colors together give us a beautiful green color. It's the same thing that we had up above, just slightly different shade of blue gives us a slightly different shade of green. All right, now let's find out what happens when we take our magenta and our cyan is going to give us a beautiful violet color, purple color. Ooh, look at that magic there. And it is a really very pretty purple color.
Andy, I know I'm going to say this and you will have no frame of reference. At least I don't think. Maybe you'll surprise me.
You never know.
But the color that you just made looks exactly like Trix yogurt used to look in probably 2007 to 2008.
Is that like the Tricks are for kids?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like when they stopped making cereal as much and started making yogurt. And
Well, of course they had to turn it into something completely unhealthy.
correct. That is the exact color that it would look like, and it was so good to me as a child growing up in the early 2000s.
Did you also eat that that ice cream that was that kind of the purple and blue and green and orange that looked incredibly disgusting?
All I can think of is Dippin' Dots. Are you talking about Dippin' Dots?
No, this was long before Dippin' Dots.
Okay, maybe I don't know what you're talking about.
They,
then.
they used to have this, I mean, the colors of the ice cream were not food colors, but
Yeah.
all mixed together. It was like some sort of psychedelic soup.
Weird.
Yes, but apparently kids loved it. All right, so we've got our magenta and our cyan, and we now have a beautiful purple color there. So hopefully this is not too much of I'm just going to move this all the way up and out of our way so that we can look here. This is it's not too strange because the computer age has brought CMYK color into most people's lives in some way. This is also what you get when you start to use light for color, and that is the Mother Nature is unhappy with me doing this very synthetic sort of
It is.
color theory. So if you could pick up on that, we are having huge rumbles of thunder here in the Atlanta area. But this is all, I think this is all very synthetic, very artificial kind of colors. But they're all perfectly legitimate red, violet, and green that you can get this way. Or you can go the traditional route with your red, yellow, and blue as primaries. But it's fun to see that there's more than, as they say, one way to skin a cat. There's more than one lane on your color theory highway. And I think it's fun to experiment with what are very, very traditional methods and some things that are a little bit more contemporary. So give the magenta, yellow, and cyan a try in place of your traditional red, yellow, and blue, and see what kind of fun colors you come up with to create your own color wheel and to explore color theory. So do we have any questions, Stephen?
I don't think we do, Andy. I think everybody was just watching along, taking notes, learning about our secondary color palette here.
Okay. Well, that's what we're here for, is just to kind of demystify color theory. It's not spooky and it's not scary. It's just something that you have to put into practice. Just mixing stuff like this on a palette is great, but I think starting to use these colors in a painting will really bring the lesson home. So if you want to put a note in the comments about what kind of paintings that you're doing using the magenta, yellow, and cyan theory of color mixing, we'd love to see that. And if you have suggestions or questions about color theory, drop those in the comments and we'll see if we can't bring you some answers in a future color theory YouTube session.
Sounds great.
Okay, so if we don't have any other questions, remember, if you want to get a good start with a basic set of folk art acrylics, you want to look for the set FA 13491 on walmart.com, and you'll have a great 18-piece starter set. So until we meet